Surprise! Hi guys. Little baby wants to say hi too. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. So this is a little bit different. I'm actually doing homework for my coach and my mentor right now, and it's like a topic that I've been mulling over for like the past 4 days, and I thought that I would come here and share it with you guys, because what I've learned, if anything, is that if we are struggling with something, or if we are, having an existential crisis, so to speak, chances are it's very common, okay? Like, a lot of us think we're special snowflakes, but really we're all probably going through the same thing. So if you have ever struggled to answer what would success be like for you, what would actually make you feel successful, if you have ever had that change for you where even you got what you thought you wanted and then you're like, oh, that's not it, then today should help. I'm really just going to be sharing some of the resources that I found, some of the clarity that I've been giving myself, and then also an exercise of like a starting point for me, because I think a lot of times, like, I'm going to get into this more specifically, but a lot of times we use these super generic words to define success, like, well, I want to be happy, right? Or I want to be financially free. I want to have flexibility in my schedule. And like, all of that is still just so freaking vague that I think it's so important for us to really get a handle on what does success look like, and then also really define how it can be different at different times of our life, and like accept that. Because when we're really trying to prioritize everything and we're holding like all of these balls and all of these things, obviously we're probably not going to make as much progress as we want to, and ultimately we feel defeated, discouraged, like failures, or just all around confused, okay? So let's get into some of this. By the way, I saw some of my mani friends popping on. I painted this glittery wild manicure last night, and as soon as I was done painting it, I was like, it's Gemini season, isn't it? Like, lo and behold, y'all, we're in Gemini season. It's officially summer from my perspective whenever Gemini hits. But okay, so let's jump into this. So the first place I'm going to start is kind of 3 mistakes we make when we're trying to define success for ourselves. And this is what's been happening to me, so it's why I went on this whole journey to try to get this together. So the first mistake we make when defining success is going to be that we use too generic of language, right? So wealthy, financial freedom, flexibility, I want to do what I want, okay? I want to be happy. So like, we use these super vague terms, or we look at something aspirational, like we make our dream boards. I make a dream board every January. I'm sure a lot of you do. We make our dream boards and we just pop up a picture of a destination vacation, and we're like, that's it. That would be success to me. But it's like, meanwhile, we have no true definition of that. We aren't really figuring out how to reach that. It's just an image. And like, I do believe imagining what we want is important. But again, how do we even know that's what we want if we can't define it more specifically? So we're being way too vague, or we're borrowing these aspirations from Instagram, from people we admire, again, from our dream board and this imagery, and we're just saying, to me, that's what success is, okay? So that's the first mistake. The second mistake I think we make when we're defining success is that we forget that we are a whole ass person, right? I am a whole human being. So in the past, I have defined my success largely around my career, but I'm a whole person. And to overemphasize one area of our life to the detriment of other parts of our life is only ever going to leave us dissatisfied, upset, right? How many Hallmark movies have we seen where the career woman has horrible health, is divorced, and all of that? Like, we have to remember we are whole beings. And so what I am going to be trying to do is, as I'm defining success for myself over the next few days, really thinking about what success looks like in all areas of my life. And I have those for you. I have 9 areas, and these are the 9 areas of emotional well-being. Okay, so how can we define success in all areas and make baby steps in those areas so that when we are seeing the progress, we can feel good as whole people, not just, well, my marriage is really good, so at least I have that, even though the rest of my world is burning, right? We need to remember we're whole people and work that way. And then the last thing, step number 3, the third way that we get it wrong when we define success is going to be we don't always narrow down our priorities depending on our season of life. So if you guys have heard of the lazy genius Kendra, she is really great at talking about this, where she really talks about how we need to get better at prioritizing where we are and what's most important in that moment. And so season, when I say season, what I mean is this time of our life, right? Like when I was in my 20s, friends were probably the number one priority to me. That's all I cared about. Okay. It was friends, meeting people, having experiences, being out there. Now that's lower on my priority list. Now I have other priorities that are higher. So when I share these 9 areas of our life to set our goals or set and envision success in these areas, I think it's important to also prioritize which areas are most important, because the truth is that sometimes we will be able to make progress in all 9 areas of our life, and sometimes we're going to have to be hyper focused on some, and it's making sure we're hyper focusing on the right things, right? And not to the detriment of others, because we're going to set baselines for others, but also being okay that okay, I'm a caretaker in my family right now. So family is going to take a bigger chunk of my energy, resources, time, emotional space than maybe, growing my intellect and reading as many books or taking a class like I want to. That kind of thing. So those are the 3 ways that we get in the way of our success. So what I think would be really helpful, like I said, what I'm going to be working on, because full transparency, I don't have this figured out. My coach asked me last Thursday, how do you define success? And I can say I've coached people through this, but I have not stopped to really think about that in a long time. And I have to be honest, between now and where I was last year, it's totally changed, I think. I think it's changing. I think it's evolving. And so going through this process, maybe this is something you need to do every year. Maybe when we put together our dream boards, this is an important thing to do along with the visualization, is redefining what this looks like. We're always changing and evolving and becoming new. Okay, so what are the 9 areas? So we have physical, emotional, creative, environmental, financial, occupational, intellectual, social, and spiritual. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time, and then I'm going to give better details on all of them. Okay, so we have physical, so that's going to be our body, our health, how we take care of this physical meat suit of our experience in this world. Emotional, our emotional health, our mental health. Creative, how are we exploring, expanding, playing. Environmental, so when I hear that one, what I think about immediately is your house, your neighborhood, your environment. Are you safe? First of all, are you in a safe situation? And then second of all, what do we need? What would success look like in my direct environment? Then we have financial, obviously setting financial goals. Occupational, so work. Intellectual, to me, this is like taking classes, working with a mentor, reading books, challenging myself. Social, so friends, family, and then spiritual, which obviously having a spiritual practice, no matter what belief system you have, I think is so important in keeping us all grounded on what matters. Like, it's weird because I've never done a live sitting right here. So it's interesting to me to be talking about success and what that looks like, and to have, this is the 38 Buddhist principles that we typed out and we framed it. My husband and I, we discovered these principles and we were like, actually, this is a great guidepost. Like, even when we're clashing, or even when we are feeling, lost, or we don't know what decision to make next, like, these are great principles to go back on and like ground us into the whole bigger purpose of what's happening. So that would be, like our spiritual practice or whatever. But what I think that is so important is just, again, we're going to define all of these. And if you look at those 9 categories, your job is one of 9. It's one of 9, right? Your health is one of 9. Your finances are one of 9. And so to me, when I found this list and I was putting together like how I was going to start to and really working through this, I think that's what hit me the most, because last year I hit a lot of the goals that I've been wanting to hit for a long time. I had on paper success and a lot of what I'd been working so hard for, but I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good at all. And so when I look at it like this, it's like, right, this is why, right? When we're only setting success based on the money in our bank account, based on our job, based on the raises, based on our clients, based on our follower account, based on, how many vacations we went on with our friends, etc., we're missing all the other pieces of life that bring fulfillment and happiness. And so I know that for me, how I'm going to move forward with this information that I'm sharing with y'all is I'm going to sit down. What I'm probably going to do is fold a paper into, or draw on a paper, 9 different areas, make it visual, use like markers and stuff, and make it really pretty. And I'm really going to like map out each different category. And then from there, try to set little baby goals each week in each category, right? So like, I'm meeting with my mentor today, so that's my intellectual for the week. I am planning a date for my partner, so that is my social. I do morning meditations and like listen to Buddhist podcasts and things like that in the morning, so that's my spiritual. Financial is like sticking to my budget, making sure I'm showing up. Occupational, obviously, setting and staying consistent with everything for my career. Physical, nutrition goals, movement goals. Emotional, making sure I'm journaling or even just reading a book on, even this exercise could probably be considered a mix of like emotional and intellectual. Creative, maybe I can find room to paint or write or draw this week. And then environmental, keeping my, having time where I take care of my house and I keep it decluttered and keep myself looking good. So, I'm really going to go through each category and add in very specific things, because remember, the more specific we can break things down, the better it's going to be for us to actually feel successful in those areas. Like I said at the beginning, when we set these vague goals like, I want financial freedom, it's like, what does that look like? Because so often with financial freedom, the second we make more money, we get a higher mortgage or rent, we get a higher car payment. So we're always having the same sort of freedom in our life. So like, what does financial freedom actually look like and sound like and feel like? What does success in our jobs look and sound like and feel like? So that is where I'm starting with this. If you can relate to feeling confused about what success looks like for you, if you can relate to having your definition of success change over time in different seasons of your life, or even to have reached those levels of success that you thought it was and then not feel good, as you know, especially like you thought you would, definitely comment below. Let me know I'm not alone here. And then also jump into my DMs. Let me know if this was helpful. I know that a lot of you come here to my page, of course, for education about growth, but I hear from so many of you that what keeps you here, what feeds your soul the most, what makes you feel the best is that inspiration and kind of like a big sister auntie vibes, right? Where we can figure out this life together. And I don't have all the answers, like I told you for this. This is something I'm doing right now. And so I wanted to share it with you guys and see if any of you really needed that support. But we're in this together. You're not alone. And honestly, we're so blessed to be alive in a time where we have all the answers at our fingertips. It's just being willing to do the inner work, right? We could find an answer online and put that as our Instagram bio or frame that as our like life motto. But how much more impactful is it when we actually take the time to sit down, look at all the categories of our life as whole human beings, and decide what that looks like for us? It can be a little messy or complicated, and maybe for some of you, if you're not where you want to be, it might feel very overwhelming, and like all of that is normal. But defining it, I think, is what's really going to help all of us not only make progress ourselves, but help pull each other up, right? Because when we are feeling that melancholy, or when we are feeling that pit in our spirit that's like, it's just not what I want, it's just not where I am, I don't think the American dream is my definition of success or whatever, it's like, this is what's going to help you really define better what that is for you. Because it doesn't have to be the corporate consumer life, right? It can be, totally, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be something else. And I think this will help us all get one step closer. So would love to hear your thoughts, what you discover on this journey. And of course, I'll keep you guys updated to mine. Thanks for hopping in on this live, and I will see you all online. Bye, guys.